ashamed of what's happening tonight for the third night in London.
Sadiq Khan, thank you. Let's get some more political reaction. Gavin Barwell is the Conservative MP for Central Croydon and is on the line now. And as we talk, Gavin Barwell will stay with these live pictures from Croydon as we can now see firefighters trying to tackle that enormous blaze that's been burning in what we think was a furniture store on the corner of that street. I wonder how you react to the scenes we're seeing in Croydon tonight.
I'm absolutely sickened to see this happening in our town, and my first thought is to the owners of those businesses and to the, although it's primarily a retail area, there are people that live very close to that site.
Can I just interrupt for a moment, because this is an important development. David Cameron apparently is boarding a plane tonight to return home and will chair a COBRA meeting, that's the government's emergency committee meeting, tomorrow, and will talk to the Home Secretary and Acting Metropolitan Police Commissioner in the morning. Perhaps a brief reaction to that, if I may.
I'm very pleased that the Prime Minister's taken that decision. I think it's entirely the right thing for him to do. This is an extremely serious situation, and it's good that he's made the right decision and he's coming home.
Right. I apologise for interrupting with that, but I thought it was important to bring us up to date on that development. You were talking more about what your gut reaction is to events in Croydon just now.
My first area of Central Croydon is one of the most heavily CCTV parts of the capital city, and I'm very confident that we are going to get images of the people that are responsible for what's happening tonight. And I would appeal to the people that are watching your programme that if they know any of these individuals, they come forward to the police and say who they are so that they can be brought to justice for what they have done. There is no justification for this action whatsoever.
One of the discussion points we've talked about at various points this evening is a lack of respect for authority in any form by this group, small group as they are, of troublemakers. Do you acknowledge that that is part of this or not?
That may be a factor. Although I have to say, I'm in my late 30s. I think that relations between younger people and the police, whilst they're still far from perfect, and there is a lot more progress to be made, are better than they were when I was growing up. I think the Metropolitan Police has done a lot to change. It's not perfect. There's more that needs to be done. But I'm not sure if I buy the argument that things in that regard are a lot worse than they were in the 1980s when I was growing up.
I'm going to leave it there because I want to concentrate more on what this announcement from Downing Street. Thank you very much for coming on the line. Let's, I think, bring in Ian Watson at Westminster, our political correspondent. Ian, just clarify what we're hearing about the Prime Minister's movements.
Yes, the Prime Minister has decided to come back to Britain in the wake of what is a deteriorating situation. I spoke to Downing Street a few minutes ago, and they say he will be boarding a plane tonight from Italy. He'll arrive in the early hours of the morning. Tomorrow morning, he'll try and take charge of the situation. It's obviously important that he's seen to be on the front foot. He'll chair a meeting of COBRA, the emergency meeting. He'll also be talking to the Home Secretary about events and having a meeting with the Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police at the Metropolitan Police. So in effect, what's happened during the course of the day is something which, in the end, has been of great concern to Downing Street as they've watched the situation deteriorate. When I spoke to Downing Street this afternoon, they said, look, the Prime Minister uses modern communication techniques. He's in touch with his cabinet colleagues. Just like the Mayor of London, his office was suggesting he didn't need to come home initially. Then he boarded a plane. Now the Prime Minister, seeing the kind of images we've seen all night, not just what's happening here in London, of course, but also reports from what's happening in Birmingham, has decided to come back and make sure that there is a coordinated government response to the situation, and he should be back in the early hours of tomorrow morning.
And the key to that coordinated response, as I understand it, will be this COBRA meeting in the morning.
That's right. It's been called at pretty short notice as well, but clearly all the main players will be there, including the Home Secretary, including Metropolitan Police officers, and they'll be trying to assess not only what's happened so far, but also trying to clearly anticipate where this goes next. 3 days of riots, and we've now seen quite senior politicians, the Deputy Leader of the Liberal Democrats, Simon Hughes, this evening, warning people in South East London to stay indoors. We've seen a similar response, in fact we heard just on the news channel a few minutes ago from the Shadow Justice Secretary, Sadiq Khan, who's saying much the same thing. But I think what we'll see from the Prime Minister is very clearly underlining the message from the Home Secretary today that these are acts of criminality in his view. What he'll also be saying, I think, is that he's going to be backing brave police officers who are putting themselves in danger. But in effect, they'll have to get down to brass tacks and find out why this has been happening 3 nights in a row, and clearly politically, symbolically, it's important for the Prime Minister to be seen to be getting on the front foot, because at her press conference, very brief press conference this evening, she took 3 questions, and some of the questions that Theresa May got was really, you know, are you on the back foot here, or is there something deeper going on here that isn't simply acts of criminality? So clearly what the Prime Minister won't want to do is to have lots of speculation that this is really about greater tensions in society. He will see this as criminal acts, but equally he'll have to show that he's getting on top of it and try to show that the government now is concerned that we don't have continuing riots. I think the other concern, actually, and this is also true with Boris Johnson coming back to London, is of course the Olympics are held next year. The longer this goes on, the more the top levels of government realise this could be a potential PR disaster for the city and the country.
Ian, thank you very much. Ian Watson there at Westminster. Let's bring in John Tully, who's with me, Vice Chairman of the Metropolitan Police Federation, as we stay with these live pictures in Croydon. As you watch these, John, what are your thoughts?
It's horrific, really, to think that in the matter of 3 days, London has descended into virtual anarchy from a very quiet beginning at a vigil outside Tottenham Police Station. We're now presented with wanton violence across many, many parts of the city. It's terrible.
And so difficult to tackle because of the geographical spread?
Absolutely, and the speed with which those perpetrators can move and can communicate with each other. It's very difficult for the operational police commanders to maintain a watch on where they are, where they might go next, and what they might do next.
Was there any sense in metropolitan police circles, to your knowledge, of a level of underlying anger among small numbers of the youth of London before this happened?
No, I don't believe there was. A lot of commentators have mentioned how much progress the Met and the communities have made since, for instance, the riots at the Broadwater Farm. Local communities now each have a safer neighbourhood team to work closely with them. Many great steps have been taken recently to improve community relations, and I don't think there was any indication that there was any underlying feeling of this nature.
Was there even a fear after what happened in Tottenham that suddenly we'd see so many other outbreaks elsewhere?
I don't believe there was. I honestly believe that what we saw in Tottenham was something being hijacked by a group of criminally minded individuals, and what we're seeing now are copycats of that. There doesn't appear to be any central organisation of it. It's mainly local youths causing mayhem as they wish, because that's what they want to do, basically.
What about the police approach in each of these areas? You've been sitting here for a little while. You'll be aware of some of the correspondence that both Maxine and I have referred to from viewers immensely frustrated that they don't think enough is being done to actually stop it and to tackle the people who are doing this rioting.